What person wouldn't jump at the chance to have an easier life? People not understanding it at all, and then reviews of people just like hyping it up, just saying it's absolutely amazing. In terms of the will, I don't mean he will spend all of his money. The majority of the book I loved. Hi, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Evie or Yvette, call me either or, and thanks for viewing this video today. Now, you will have seen in my last video, which was a couple of weeks ago now, that I had started Summer in the City. So this is kind of like a update because I finished Summer in the City, finally. It took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to read it. I ended up in a bit of a reading slump in the middle of it. So that did stress me out because I was like, I am actually really enjoying this book, yet I'm in the fattest reading slump ever. I don't know how those two coincide because obviously the book was really good. So I don't know, let's kind of get into a bit more about it. So Summer in the City is by Alex Aster. It's set in New York. Now, I've only been to New York once and have been obsessed with it ever since. So reading a book set in New York was so fulfilling and just made me so happy and want to book another holiday to go there. Obviously at the minute, not going to America for obvious reasons. I ended up rating this book 4 stars, which it could have been a 5-star. It could have been a 5-star if I wasn't in such a massive reading slump midway through, because this book wasn't that big. I'll put up how many pages it was, but it wasn't actually that big, even though it was like a hardback. Dead easy to read. So I don't know why I ended up in, I think it was like a week or 10 days slump in the middle where I just didn't read anything. So this book kind of tropes. It's giving enemies to lovers, it's giving fake dating, obviously, like I've said, NYC vibes. So Elle is the FMC and she's having writer's block. She is a major movie writer, but she's kind of anonymous at the minute because she doesn't really want people to know who she is. She's having a month of like writer's block and she needs something to change that. She ends up moving to New York, and I think there must be like something said in it where it's like she doesn't really like New York. Crazy. She ends up moving there. I think she moves into her sister's apartment. It's like this big fancy apartment because her sister's fella, I think, has a lot of money, and we find out through the book, not really a spoiler, that she gets money from their dad. She moves into this apartment and across the hall or down the hall is this man, Parker, who she did meet previously on, I think it was like a night out, and they were at a party or at an event or something. They met on a night out and he fancied her straight away, but he came across very arrogant to her. She felt like he wanted to pay her to spend a night with him and she was like, I can't be bought. Yeah, it kind of ended there, but he fancied her the whole time and was trying to like search for her, we find out. But she's like, she hates social media, etc, etc, and we find out the reason why she hates social media, like, eventually. So she moves across the hallway, she sees him and she goes, oh, that's that billionaire tech friggin' CEO guru, whatever he is. And obviously he's been in like magazines and stuff because he's like a bazillionaire. So she's like, oh great, like I already know him and I hate him. So it's an enemies to lovers and it follows them throughout. And to be honest, the majority of the book I loved. What annoyed me was Parker, the MMC, wanted to give her the world, right? And would try different things. So at first he was like doing expensive things and like she was like, you're not understanding that I like don't like this, like I can't be bought. So then he was trying like little things, but there was always this money aspect in the back of it that she was getting hung up about. And this man was literally like, I will give you the world, or I will like, in terms of the world, I don't mean he will spend all of his money, which he would have done if she'd wanted that. He would just be there no matter what, however she wanted, you know, whether it's just him being there like present or being there emotionally, or because this man had no red flags and she thought him being a bazillionaire was a red flag. I was like, be so fucking for real. This whole book, she had this massive thing about hating money and like hating him because he's got loads of money. And I'm like what person wouldn't jump at the chance to have an easier life and to be with a man that's fucking nice? And he had no red flags whatsoever. Anyway, so that annoyed me, and that's why I rated it 4 out of 5, because throughout the book, her thing about money was paying me off. She didn't need to be so hung up about it. Okay, she can be a bit like standoffish and a bit like, oh, you can't buy me. Okay, cool. But then when that was all done and dusted, and we kind of had moved past that, why is she still talking about it? Anyway, so she was a bit annoying, the FMC. I think her name's Elle. So yeah, she was a bit annoying. But the whole book was giving NYC romance vibes. So that's why it's a 4-star. And I would actually really recommend this book. It's really fun. And yeah, she does, Elle, the FMC, does annoy you a bit, talking about the money situation. But you can move past that, and it's still a good book. And yeah, 4 stars. I feel like I'm always filming from the same place. I really need to, like, I don't know, move downstairs or maybe move in the garden and film something, but I hate the outdoors. So I know as soon as I'll sit down on like a picnic blanket outside, there'll be bugs crawling all over me and I'll be screaming. But anyway, yeah, it's been a few days since I finished Summer in the City, and I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I read that in 2 days. Wild, I know. You might say, Yvette, I thought you were a slow reader, which I am. But I did actually manage to start and join the gym in between that and see my friend. So I feel like it was pretty good going. But yeah, let me talk about the book. So you've probably gathered, I don't know if you've seen the cover. I mean, it should be up on the screen already, but it's kind of like a paranormal fantasy. Is it fantasy? No. I mean, yeah, but it's more paranormal, vampires, werewolves, humans included as well, kind of meshed together book. Now, there was mixed reviews on this. There were reviews of like people not understanding it at all, and then reviews of people just like hyping it up, just saying it's absolutely amazing. Now, I've had this book on my Kindle for a while, so I was literally looking for something, and I thought, do you know what, like, people have been talking about it for ages now. Let me give it a go. Let me see what it's about. So the FMC, she's called Misery. Yeah, I know. The worst name ever. And to be honest, I nearly rated it down a star just based off her name being Misery, because I was like, what do you mean her name's Misery? You couldn't come up with a better name than Misery? Now, she's of the vampire kind of paranormal species, is that the right word? That feels a bit icky to say, but yeah, she's like the vampire realm, I guess you could say. And I think it's Lowe, Lowe, is that how you say it? He is the MMC, and he's of the werewolves. It's called Bride. It is an arranged marriage, and it's very much an enemies to lovers, but the intricate scenes within the book blew me away. Like, I couldn't put it down, because every time I wanted to put it down, I was like, well, something good's happening. Like, I need to carry on reading it. It was a great mix of fantasy without it being too much. Now, you've seen from previous videos, I've said I'm not that much of a fantasy girl sometimes. And yes, I've recently read When the Moon Hatched. And yes, the first 50% of the book blew me away and I loved it. But then there was like some scenes in it, I swear there was some scenes where they just described like them playing cards or something. I can't remember now, but it went on and on and on and on. And I was like, I don't need this. Like, I don't understand half the world. Do you get what I mean? So fantasies can be hit and miss for me. Now, this is very much not really a fantasy book. I mean, clearly it is. It's got werewolves and vampires in, but it's not too world building heavy. There's not all these random words in where you have to try and understand what they are, new words where there's a glossary at the end of the book, you know, all this crap. It was easy peasy lemon squeezy, and I just feel like it was, yeah, just not a simple book, but nothing in there would confuse you. Let's just say that. So apart from her name being Misery, which pissed me off, the rest of the book was amazing. The relationship that the FMC and MMC had, obviously enemies to lovers, not really a spoiler, but then like by the end of the book it was spicy as hell, and like throughout, because it's a slow burn, you know, you're waiting for it, and obviously, you know me, I've said it before, I love a slow burn. Yeah, I don't think this book would be for everybody. If you were obsessed with like Twilight, I guess, and I don't know, Vampire Diaries and stuff like that, I think you'll really enjoy it, because I love stuff like that. I still will watch Twilight as like my comfort movie. Yeah, I think you will enjoy this book, and you'll enjoy the slow burn getting right to the end. But maybe not if you're not into vampires and werewolves. I don't know. So another thing, as well as her name being Misery, they randomly had her as like an IT professional. Now, bearing in mind she's a vampire, she was like women in STEM. I'm like, she's a vampire, why does she need that? Why? And obviously in the book it does explain, this isn't a spoiler, but basically she spent a lot of time in the human world, so I guess she ended up with a mundane job. But I'm like, can you not like mind control people? Anyway, that kind of threw me off. But even with that, it still was enemies to lovers. There was a mystery, the twist that came with it, amazing. There's like a found family aspect. Obviously it's like a vampire bride, alpha, werewolf, companionship. Yeah, and it was giving all the spiciness that I needed, and it wasn't too quick into the book. I hate it when you just get into a book. I remember I read Five Brothers, and also Credence as well. If you've seen my other videos, I've said I'm not going to read anything by Penelope Douglas, at least not yet, because like, why am I reading about them bonking like 3 chapters in? Like, where's my slow burn? I don't like it. So this wasn't that. This was definitely a slow burn, and it ticked every single box. So my rating was 5 stars. I rated it 5 stars. I would 100% recommend it to anybody that likes werewolves, vampires, everything like this. Spicy as hell. And I was surprised. I nearly marked it down to 4 stars because she was randomly like coding in the middle of it, and because her name was Misery. What kind of a name is that? Stupid. But then I thought that wasn't really that fair to do, because the rest of the story like hit the spot. So yeah, I've given it 5 stars, and I'm happy to end this video here with a 5-star read. If you haven't already yet, please subscribe to my channel, please like this video, and give me a comment down below. Yeah, I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Love you lots. Bye guys.